Sripad Tridas Mahashai speaks.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur has expressed that out of all the biographies of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Chaitanya Charitamrita is the most important because it deals with the teachings of Sri Chaitanya. He says, what is the source of the instructions that we are receiving? We place a lot of importance on the bona fide instructions that come down from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we place the emphasis upon the spiritual master being a representative of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To be a representative of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means to carry the proper Siddhanta. Siddhanta means conclusion of the teachings of the ancient Vedas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave his teachings. He gave his teachings to Rupa, he gave his teachings to Sanatan. There were others who were always in the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please settle down. There are those who were always in the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, such as Sarup Damodar. It is actually from the notes of Sarup Damodar that the Chaitanya Charitamrita became written. With the approval of Rupa and Sanatan, who went over the notes, who also oversaw the writing actually of Krishnadas Kaviraj, giving their own information, what they had learned from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and so forth. All of this became included in what we call Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the auspicious nectar of the divine pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'm reading from chapter 3 and going to abridge some of the slokas. This is quite detailed, but also so that I can read some of the text from chapter 4. Krishnadas Kaviraj says, Lord Krishna, son of the king of Braj, is the Supreme Lord. He eternally resides in his transcendental abode Goloka, where he enjoys transcendental pastimes. Once in the day of Brahma, he descends to this world to manifest his transcendental pastimes. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam with the verse, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Shrayam. There are many different understandings of what is God. But ultimately, the Bhagavatam describes that the highest conception is the personalistic conception. We may have conceptions of God's presence everywhere, as the Brahmana effulgence. We may consider that he is the Lord within the heart, as the Asians consider the customer is God. I heard yesterday. Many different conceptions of what is God. But what is the highest conception of Godhead? Krishna's tu Bhagavan Shayam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we'll discuss what that actually means in context with these verses. But anyway, for now, it is explained here that this Supreme Lord, and it's referred to here, Purna Bhagavan Krishna Bradinjan Kumar. Purna means the complete personality of Godhead, because sometimes the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests the partial form. Sometimes he will empower another. There are different types of incarnations. But he who is the source of all incarnations is called Purna Bhagavan, or the Swayam Bhagavan, the source of all other incarnations. Now once, in the day of Brahma, he descends to this world to manifest his transcendental pastimes. We know that there are 4 ages, namely Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. These 4 together comprise one Divya Yuga. There are 4 ages, just like there's 4 seasons. We are now in the Kali Yuga. If we take the 4 ages, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, and put them together, that's called Divya Yuga. 71 such Divya Yugas constitutes one Manvantara. A Manvantara is the reign of the sage Manu. The Manus overlook the well-being of mankind, and they give instructions to mankind through their teachings, Manu Samhita. There are 14 Manvantaras in one day of Brahma. Brahma's lifetime, therefore, is understood to be incredibly long. At the end of the Dwapara Yuga, of the 28th Divya Yuga, Lord Krishna appears on earth with the full paraphernalia of his eternal Braj Dham. Krishna comes once in the day of Brahma, and it is scheduled incarnation. He comes at the Dwapara Yuga, which falls at the end of the 28th Divya Yuga. At this time, Krishna comes to this world. Krishnadas goes on to say, servitude, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love are the 4 transcendental mellows or rasas. By the devotees who cherish these 4 mellows, Lord Krishna is subdued. Krishna is worshipped not in an ordinary way, not with anything but love. He is subdued, conquered by love. That love is expressed by his devotees in different ways or mellows, called Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Shringara. Servitude, friendship, paternal affection, and conjugal love. Absorbed in such transcendental love, Lord Sri Krishna enjoys in Braj with his devoted servants and his friends, his parents, and conjugal lovers. Lord Krishna enjoys his transcendental pastimes as long as he wishes, and then he disappears from the sight of the ordinary people. After disappearing, however, he thinks thus: for a long time, I have not bestowed unalloyed loving service to me upon the inhabitants of the world. Without such loving attachment, the existence of the material world is useless. It is described here that after Krishna leaves this world, you know, Krishna appeared about 5,000 years ago, when he went back to his own abode, he began to contemplate that actually it's been a long time since I've bestowed upon the inhabitants of the earthly plane love of Godhead, the highest conception of reality. Generally the Vedas, they deal with the subject matters of Dharma, Artha, Kam, and Moksha. That means religiosity, piety, Dharma. Artha, economic stability. Kam, sense gratification, and Moksha, liberation. If we follow the ordinary course of the Vedas, we are directed in these ways. If you want to acquire pious credits, attain heavenly kingdoms at the end of this life, then you do Dharma. If you want to achieve economic stability, sense gratification, then there are different types of jagnas you can also perform. Please the various devas, the demigods. If you want moksha, liberation, you're fed up with the material world, you've concluded life is pain, so much difficulty here, let me try to seek a higher existence, merge myself into the totality of the oneness of the world, of God. then we may conceive, we follow this path, the path of Gyan or the path of meditation like that. But Krishna was thinking, I have not bestowed upon the world a higher goal in a long time. The people of the world, they know this Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. But what is the real need of society? What is the actual goal of the human form of life, the Purushartha? What is the ultimate Purushartha? That is love of God. Mahaprabhu, he descended with this gift. Namo Maha Vadanaya Krishna Prem Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtishe Namaha. He came with the gift of love of Krishna. Krishna went on to conceive in this way. Everywhere in the world, people worship me according to scriptural injunctions. Throughout the world, worship of God goes on. According to our conception of what is God, people worship Him. But it is all in accordance to scriptural injunctions and all in the mood of awe and veneration. But, Krishna thought, simply by following such regulative principles, one cannot attain the loving sentiments of the devotees in Braj Bhumi. They will not attain the highest goal, entrance into the transcendental land of Vrindavan. Knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration. But devotion made feeble by such reverence does not attract me. Such devotion is made feeble through reverence, because the quality of love is lacking. And by performing such regulative devotional service in awe and veneration, one can go to Vaikuntha and attain 4 kinds of liberation. But they cannot ultimately enter into the transcendental land of Shri Vrindavan. Krishna was thinking like this. Such persons who worship me with awe and veneration, they can go to Vaikuntha. There they can achieve 4 kinds of liberation. They can achieve the liberation of Sharshti, that is, achieving opulence equal to that of the Lord. One can achieve Sarupya, that is, one can have a form like that of God. It is described within the Brihad Bhagavatamrita of Sanatana Goswami that according to the object of our affection, we will obtain a particular form which matches that. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that which you are thinking of at the time of death, that you will attain. If you're meditating upon the four-armed Narayan, you will take a four-armed form in the Vaikuntha realm. It is described there in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. The worshippers of Lord Nrsimhadev, they take on a form like Lord Nrsimhadev. There's the story is surrounding Gopakumar, who goes to the Vaikuntha worlds. He has a difficulty in identifying who is God because he's seeing everyone is having forearms, and then when he's in the area of Nrsimhalok, everyone is looking like Nrsimhadev. This is one of the types of liberation. You get a form in accordance with the object of your veneration. Samipya, you live as a personal associate on the same planet with the Lord, Salokya. In this way, these things are available, Krishna was thinking. But these are the goals that are attainable through awe and veneration. They are the goals that are attainable when one enters into the Vaikuntha realm. Now, Krishna went on to contemplate, I shall personally inaugurate the religion of the age, Nam Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy name. And I shall make the whole world dance in ecstasy, realizing the 4 mellows of loving devotional service. I shall accept the role of a devotee, and I shall teach devotional service by practicing it myself. The Lord thought, Kali Yuga has come. It is time to introduce the Yuga Dharma, the religion of the age. So I can do that. I can teach the people how to chant the holy name of Krishna. Yuga Dharma pravartayemu nama sankirtanam. I will come and I will teach the ways of chanting by accepting the role of a devotee myself. Now, Krishna says, unless one practices devotion himself, he cannot teach it to others. Jada jada hi dharmasya glanir bhaviti bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam shijamiham. The Lord thought, I have made this declaration in Bhagavad Gita. Whenever, wherever there's decline in religious practice and a predominant rise of irreligion, I will come. I will descend myself. So Kali Yuga is the time of irreligiosity, so I will come. And I will teach the people how to chant the holy name of the Lord. And we'll establish this as the Yuga Dharma, the religion for the age. In this way, I will fulfill my promise as given in Bhagavad Gita. I will come to deliver the pious, annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles. For this reason I appear myself, millennium after millennium. In this way, the Lord was thinking. Thinking thus, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna himself, descended at Nadia, Navadvip, in the early part of the Kali Yuga. Now, Krishnadas Kaviraj goes on to say that although this is true, what I have just described, it is but an external reason for the Lord's incarnation. But please hear for one other reason, a confidential reason for the Lord's appearance. The scriptures proclaim that Lord Krishna previously descended to take away the burden of the earth. To take away this burden, however, is not the work of the Swayam Bhagavan, the original personality of Godhead. This is not his purpose. The maintainer, Lord Vishnu, is the one who protects the universe. Krishna extends himself in the form of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu deals with this world. Lord Vishnu descends within this world to protect the innocent and to annihilate the miscreants. This is the work of Lord Vishnu, the extended form of Krishna. Actually, Krishna's only business is to enjoy. He has no other purpose. He enjoys. He enjoys loving exchanges with his devotees. That is Krishna's business, simply to enjoy the love of his devotees and to reciprocate that love. And for the purpose of helping out those who are finding problems within the Kali Yuga or any other time within this world, he descends in the form of Lord Vishnu. Now the time to lift the burden of the world mixed with the time of Lord Krishna's incarnation. When the complete Supreme Personality of Godhead descends, all other incarnations of the Lord meet together within him. Lord Narayan, the four primary expansions known as Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, as well as all the other incarnations, they all descend in the body of Lord Krishna. In this way, the Supreme, complete Supreme Godhead, Lord Krishna himself, appears. One may say, well, Krishna's killed various demons, didn't he? And lifted the earth up due to Mother Earth's feeling of sorrow that she was being overburdened by a multitude of demoniac forces. Isn't it that Krishna came? Well, actually, she went and she approached Vishnu. She approached Vishnu, along with Brahma and the other demigods. But it so happened, it is described here, that Krishna was also appearing. So, Krishna, he is the source of so many incarnations. Vishnu is there within him. When the Lord came, Vishnu manifestation was also there. And when it was time for killing the demons, to execute that work, it was that Vasudeva aspect, that Vishnu aspect, that killed the demons. But what's Krishna's business killing demons? He has no business killing demons. His only business is to reciprocate the love of his devotees. That is Vrindavan. And it is said, Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So what's Krishna got to do with this world? When he appears within this world, he appears for the sake of his devotees to show the nature of that transcendental world. Otherwise, we have no information of that. Krishna manifested his own spiritual abode within this world, Vrindavan, and showed the intimacy of that loving exchange that takes place there. And he manifested in the form of Vyasadeva and compiled that in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, a description of this transcendental world, the transcendental land of Vrindavan. The full description is given there within the Srimad Bhagavatam, and within that Srimad Bhagavatam, the nature of the loving exchanges of Krishna with his devotees are thoroughly explained. Anyway, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that at that time, therefore, Lord Vishnu was present in the body of Krishna, and Lord Krishna kills the demons through him, through Vishnu. Thus, the killing of the demons is but a secondary work. That was not the primary reason for Krishna coming. One can think, well, the burden of the earth was such that Krishna came. But that was secondary reason. The primary reason was to teach, to show to the world the ways of pure, loving, devotional service, as is exemplified within the transcendental land of Vrindavan. The Lord's desire to appear was born from two reasons. He wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God. And he wanted to propagate devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus he is known as supremely jubilant and the most merciful of all. Krishna, besides coming in the form of Mahaprabhu, to teach the world the Yuga Dharma, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, had something else in mind too. Prema ras niryas karite ashwadhan raga marg bhakti loki karite charan. He wanted to propagate the waves of spontaneous attraction, raga marg. In other words, he wanted to teach the ways of loving devotion as is found within the transcendental land of Vrindavan. At the same time, he wanted to experience the nature of that love by taking on the mood of a devotee. And not any devotee, but the highest devotee, Shri Radha. It is Radha alone who exhibits the highest nature of love for Krishna. And so the Lord was curious to understand what was the experience that Radha was gaining through her love for him. He was on the other side of it. He was receiving that love. But he could see that Radha's experience of giving that love was giving her greater transcendental happiness than he on the other end who was receiving that love. And he thought, I can only know what is the nature of that love if I reverse the role. I am going to have to be the devotee. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Krishna, but he comes in the role of the devotee being Shri Radha. All the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty. But love weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me. If one regards me as the Supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. Actually, God is beyond anyone's control. Our first understanding of God is he is the supreme controller. Everything is under his control. He says not even the blade of grass moves without his will. And yet here, a most esoteric understanding is being given. That the Lord likes to come under the control of his devotees. What controls the Lord? Power? No, no one's more powerful than God. Any type of opulence? No. Bhagavan means he is the possessor of all opulences, all wealth, all knowledge, all beauty, strength, renunciation. No one can outdo God. That is the meaning of Bhagavan. No one can outdo him. He possesses everything. Everything comes from him. But there is one thing that we can possess that he doesn't have. That is love for him. That love actually conquers him. The power of love brings God in a submissive position. This is what he saw. The love of the inhabitants of Vrindavan was so great. Krishna says, I am the supreme controller, but I am becoming subjugated by the love of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. So, Krishna was thinking, look at this phenomena. I am the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Controller, and I am being conquered by love. And I am seeing those who possess such love are feeling such intense ecstasy. I will never be able to understand it or experience it unless I take on the role of a devotee myself. And this is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He takes on the role of the devotee. He comes in the mood of devotee. Although he is Godhead himself, he comes in the mood of devotee to experience the nature of that divine love. In whatever transcendental mellow my devotees worship me, I reciprocate with him. That is my natural behavior. I've confirmed this in Bhagavad Gita. Ye tatarama prapadyante tanstataiva bhajamyaham mamavartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvatsaha. In whatever way my devotees surrender unto me, I reward him accordingly. Therefore everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Prita. If one cherishes pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me in a subordinate role, as his son, as a friend, as a beloved, regarding himself as great, considering me his equal, or even his inferior, I become subordinate to him. Generally, God is overhead. God is great. That is the first conception of God we get. God is great. And we must understand his greatness because everything comes from him. But the Lord likes to become subdued by the love of his devotees. If someone thinks of me, Krishna says here, as my equal, or even thinks of me in the superior role, then I become subordinate to him. I am purchased by such love. Devotional service rendered to me by the living beings revives their eternal life. Oh my dear damsels of Braj, your affection for me is your good fortune, for it is the only means by which you have obtained my favor. Mother sometimes binds me as her son. She nourishes and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. My friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, saying, "What kind of big man are you? You and I are equal." If my beloved consort reproaches me in a sulky mood, that steals my mind from the reverent hymns of the Vedas. Taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I become amazed. Here is a unique and wonderful conception of the nature of God, only revealed to us by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How could we ever conceive of a position so powerful, so wonderful, that actually the devotee takes on a higher position than the Lord himself, where the Lord becomes captivated by the love of his devotees. And that becomes acted out in that transcendental realm of Vrindavan. It was for this reason that Krishna descended, not to kill the demons. That was done through his Vishnu expansion, but to show the world what love actually means. Vrindavan is the transcendental land of divine love. And it is there that pure love is exhibited between God and his devotees. And it is this love that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach. Therefore, we offer our respectful obeisances to Sri Chaitanya. Namo Mahavanaya Krishna Prem Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. Oh, my dear Lord, you are the most munificent of all incarnations, because you are freely giving what no other incarnation has ever given before. Pure love of God following in the wake of the inhabitants of Shri Vrindavan. Therefore, it becomes imperative that we understand this esoteric nature of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the study of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Who is Mahaprabhu? He is not only the giver of the holy name. He is not only the giver of liberation through the chanting of the holy name, but he is the Supreme Lord who has come with a most esoteric purpose, to experience the love of the inhabitants of Vrindavan and to teach that to the world. This is his gift to us. Taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport. I think this is good. Taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha. I shall broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. The influence of Yogamaya will inspire the yogis, the influence of Yogamaya will inspire the gopis with the sentiment that I am their paramour. Neither the gopis nor I shall notice this, for our minds will always be entranced by one another's beauty and qualities. Pure attachment will unite us, even at the expense of moral and religious duties. Destiny will sometimes bring us together and sometimes separate us. I shall taste the essence of all rasas, and in this way I shall favor all the devotees. Then by hearing about pure love of the residents of Braj, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love. Radha Marge Bhaje Dina Chadi Dharma Karma, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruit of activity. Ultimately, this is the path taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To learn to love Krishna by following in the mood of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. This was the whole esoteric conception of the descent of Mahaprabhu, why he has come. That is what is described here within the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in service to him. After hearing of this transcendental wonder, one should feel a sense of excitement. We should feel encouraged, excited, that now an opportunity, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has descended upon us. That we should follow in the way of the mood of the inhabitants of Vrindavan is ultimately the way given to us by Mahaprabhu. Here, the use of the word bhavet, which is in the imperative mood, tells us that this certainly must be done, and non-compliance would be abandonment of duty. Just as these desires are the fundamental reason for Krishna's appearance, whereas destroying the demons is only an incidental necessity, so for Sri Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, promulgating the Dharma of the age is also incidental. When the Lord desired to appear for another reason, the time for promulgating the religion of the age also arose. It so happened, coincidentally, that the time for promoting the religion of the age appeared along with the Lord's desire to distribute the nature of pure love, prema bhakti. Thus, with two intentions, the Lord appeared with his devotees and tasted the nectar of prema with the congregational chanting of the holy name. Thus he spread kirtan, even among the untouchables. He wove a wreath of the holy name and praying, with which he garlanded the entire material world. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. 4 kinds of devotees are receptacles of the 4 kinds of mellows in love of Godhead, namely servitude, friendship, paternal affection, and conjugal love. Each kind of devotee feels that his sentiment is most excellent, and thus in that mood he tastes great happiness with Lord Krishna. But if we compare the sentiments in an impartial mood, we find that the conjugal sentiment is superior to all in sweetness. Rupa Goswami has stated in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, increasing love is experienced in various tastes, one above another. But that love which has the highest taste in the gradual succession of desired manifests itself in the form of conjugal love. Therefore I call it Madhurya Rasa, the sweetest rasa, full of nectar, full of honey, full of incredible taste. There is great increase of mellow in the mood of the gopis. Such love is found nowhere but in Braj. This mood is unbounded in the damsels of Braj, but among them it finds its perfection in Shri Radha. Her pure, mature love surpasses that of all others. Her love is the cause of Lord Krishna's tasting the sweetness of conjugal relationship. Therefore, Lord Gauranga, who is Sri Hari himself, accepted the sentiments of Radha and thus fulfilled his own desires. The esoteric aspect of Krishna consciousness is so wonderful to understand the nature of Shri Vrindavan, the nature of the love of the gopis for Krishna. But it would not be possible without the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore it has been advised by our acharyas that one should understand the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he manifested these pastimes while studying the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita gives us that comparison, how the Lord exhibited his pastimes in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu while exhibiting such love. If we find an interest in this subject matter, then we should thoroughly study this Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is actually the highest transcendental literature available to us. Srila Prabhupada used to say that this Chaitanya Charitamrita is the postgraduate study. We should begin, of course, with a good foundation. Our spiritual life should be built on a strong foundation of philosophy. And so, gradually, the devotee will increase his understanding of the nature of Mahaprabhu and the nature of this transcendental love of Vrindavan. But we should build that up on a good foundation. So we begin with Bhagavad Gita, then Srimad Bhagavatam, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita brings us to that postgraduate study. This will give us good foundation. Bhagavad Gita becomes therefore an essential study for the devotees to get a good philosophical grounding. Otherwise there's always a danger of misunderstanding these things. But by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the grace of those who represent Mahaprabhu in the proper conception of Siddhanta, these things can be understood. It becomes therefore a very valuable work of the devotees to try to preserve these pure conceptions and to see that they do not become perverted or distorted. Because certainly when we talk of the transcendental nature of reality, as is being described here, it takes us far beyond the realm of mental speculation. It is not something that we can conceive within the mind, nor perceive within these senses. It is something to be experienced by the soul itself. That soul can experience this reality, but we should purify ourselves through the process of devotional service. Therefore, our sampradaya, acharyas or spiritual masters of our sampradaya, have given us a very nice program that will gradually purify our heart so that we can experience these realities. We were discussing yesterday, there are different stages in Krishna consciousness. We can't jump from one level to another, and yet at the same time, we can't but be progressive in our spiritual life. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gives a nice example. If you're climbing a ladder, if you go too hastily, you'll fall down. But if you don't continue to climb, you'll never get to the top. So spiritual life is like that. We begin on the bottom row, and we must climb step by step. Therefore, under the proper guidance of a spiritual master, we can learn how to take the next step, how to climb gradually, carefully. In the beginning, the spiritual master invokes within our heart faith. Faith in the absolute reality of Krishna. And yet, as we continue to hear the words of the spiritual master, we find an awakening of desire to keep going, to be progressive in our spiritual life. Don't stop here, and don't become proud that now at this level of Krishna consciousness I have everything. I'm a great devotee, and no. Then you'll be stuck there. That's the level you'll be stuck at, as soon as pride comes in. But a devotee should always practice humility. Humility means that when the opportunity presents itself by the grace of Krishna to make further advancement, I am ready to take that step. When one becomes proud, that opportunity never seems to make itself available to us. I'm proud. I am a devotee. I'm on this level. Okay, then stay there. But if we remain humble, we'll see that Krishna is always unfolding the opportunity to rise upward. The transcendental ladder or stairs to the temple of praying, the temple of pure love for Krishna. So we must be humble, and we must always be progressive in our spiritual life. That is, knowing that step by step we can enter into that transcendental reality that is being offered to us by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and by his representatives within this world. This is the great fortune of the living beings who happen to take their birth within this particular time span. Krishna is manifested, and just after that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his kindness, has given us a great gift, which we should take advantage of. We have this human form of life, which is a rare opportunity, and then to get the opportunity to render devotional service in this lifetime is even a greater opportunity, a greater gift, a greater benediction upon us. And to get that opportunity in the mood in which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has delivered is beyond comparison. So, we pray that my visits coming here have inspired you in this way. I am leaving to go to Vrindavan and won't be back maybe, I think our next program here won't be till about 3 months. So there'll be regular programs going on and continue to chant and hear, and different readings can go on. But I hope that by my coming here, and I've seen everyone is feeling encouraged to be progressive in their spiritual life, to move forward, and this greatly satisfying to me, because this is why I've taken up such a work, to try to encourage others to move forward while encouraging myself also. This is the desire of my spiritual master for all of you, whether directly connected with A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada or through his devotees. He is our Parama Guru. He is the spiritual master of all of us. Srila Prabhupada used to say, grandfather is always kinder actually upon the grandchildren than even the direct children. So actually his mercy is extending even in a more favorable way towards all of you. Try to be sincere. And that's really the key to our advancement and progressive mentality. We're always, if we remain sincere, we'll always be progressive. We simply have to remain sincere and open to the opportunities to progress when Krishna makes those opportunities available to us. And never cut ourselves off from that progressive mentality by becoming proud and becoming full of pride. Krishna reveals things in different stages, at different levels. So, as there are different levels of Krishna consciousness, beginning from the platform of Shraddha, faith, and ending with Prem, and there's so many different stairs in between, we must not get locked on any one level, but always progressive. Sometimes I've seen devotees, they come and they get stuck at the Anartha Nirvita stage. That so many unwanted desires are there and they sometimes give up. Don't give up. Continue to chant Hare Krishna. Continue to render your devotional services. And soon you'll find you'll get beyond those unwanted contaminants and you're going to begin to become steady, nishta, steady in your devotional life. And then, when there's nishta and you're steady, you're going to begin to experience ruchi, a real taste. And then, Krishna, Shakti, nothing but Krishna can ever satisfy you. That awakening will manifest within your mind. Nothing but Krishna can satisfy. I can never go back to the material world again. I can never find happiness in anything but pure devotion to God. This then opens up the ways of bhav and prema. In this way, spiritual life is progressive. And it begins with the foundation of faith. So, with this faith, you please all chant Hare Krishna regularly, associate with devotees, read the books of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, as well as some of the literatures which we have recommended here, some of the books of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Guru Maharaj Srila Sridhar Swami. These will allow you to be progressive in your spiritual life, and you'll feel great happiness. There's no doubt about that. Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.